Next, we'll talk about Live Align and Live Geometry. This is our no-CAD workflow. First, I'm going to start with an empty file and select Live Align. I have two options for alignment. First, we'll discuss interactive alignment. I can pick up my probe and follow instructions. I'm going to want to measure my first plane, which will become my first axis.
Plane.
When I accept the feature, the overlay user interface is giving me the opportunity to use my probe and indicate what axis I intend this to be. This is the top of my part, so I'm going to choose the z-axis. I can also choose whether this is a positive or negative axis. I'm going to choose plus. Moving right along, I go to measure my second axis.
Plane.
Once complete, I accept it, and now I can choose of the remaining axes. This is the front of my part, so I'll choose the y-negative axis. All I have left to do is to adjust for my last axis, and I can move along.
Plane.
I'll accept it, and now I have the opportunity to either exit Interactive Align or choose one of my downstream processes. Here I'm going to choose Live Geometry. Live Geometry has a way of automatically understanding and recognizing what you've measured using our AutoGuess tool. We can also explicitly tell the software what we're going to measure. For instance, here I'm going to measure a plane.
Create plane. Plane.
Let's try that with the AutoGuess.
Auto creation. Plane.
As you can see, once it's had enough points to fit geometry, it gives you an indication of what it thinks it is. And as I take more points, there are other possible solutions. Now I'll press OK. And now I have the opportunity to select what this was. Since there may have been some ambiguity, I can tell the software, hey, this was a plane. Now I'll move forward to measure a sphere.
Plane. Sphere.
Let's try some 2D features. For instance, a circle. It's asking me to probe a base plane, and I'll do that.
Create plane. Plane.
Once I've selected the plane that the circles will live in, I go into a 2D view mode. Now I can measure as many circles as I want.
Circle. Circle.
I make sure to end the circle with my probe inside of the circle. This ensures that we apply the correct compensation value. Now I'll back out of Live Geometry and use 3D GD&T and some smart dimensions to understand what I've just measured. Here I'll use the Smart Dimension tool to establish some basic linear dimensions for my measured features. If I turn the part on its side, you can get the basic shape of the part that I measured, clearly aligned to my coordinate system. I'm going to ask the software how far away the sphere is from my edge. Place the tag. How far is the sphere from the front edge? What's the distance between these two circles? Now let's restrict that to an axis. And maybe I also want to know how big the circles are. I can also establish some datums and establish position dimensions. I choose my datum tag and select from the available geometry. I'll choose my position GD&T and select a feature. The position GD&T automatically snaps to the existing linear dimension. Now I can export this as a report or export the geometry.